Enhypen is a South Korean boy band formed by Belift Lab. Formerly a joint venture between CJENM and Hybe Corporation, the group was formed through the 2020 survival competition show Island. The group consists of 6 members: Jae, Jake, Sunghoon, Sunoo, Jungwon, and Nikki. Originally a 7-piece ensemble, Heeseung departed from the group in March 2026. They debuted on November 30th, 2020, with the extended play EP Border Day 1. The name Enhypen was introduced during the live broadcast of the final episode of Island. Etymologically, the group derives their name from the hyphen symbol, representing connection, discovery, and growth. Similar to how a hyphen connects different words to create new meanings, Enhypen aims to come together to connect, discover, and grow together to form a new act. Career pre-debut activities and formation through Island. In March 2019, Belift Lab was co-founded by South Korean entertainment agencies CJENM and Hybe Corporation, with plans to create a new band in 2020. Auditions commenced the same month in Seoul, the United States, Taiwan, and Japan, among others locations, seeking male trainees born between 1997 and 2008. On May 8, 2020, television channel Mnet announced the survival competition series One Land as part of the joint venture between the two entertainment companies that follows the process of next-generation K-pop artists being born. Enhypen was formed through the show, which featured 23 male trainees, some of whom were originally auditioned for Belift, while others transferred from Big Hit Music. The show aired weekly on Mnet from June 26th to September 18th, 2020, and internationally on Hybe Label's YouTube channel. The series was split into 2 parts, with the top 12 contestants from the first part advancing to the second. On the last episode of the show, 7 members were selected out of the 9 final contestants, with 6 chosen by global rankings and 1 by producer's choice. The final lineup, in ranking order, was Jungwon, Jae, Jake, Nikki, Heeseung, Sunghoon, and Sunoo, and was announced on the live television broadcast of the finale. 2020-2021, Debut, Border Series, and Dimension Dilemma. On October 22, 2020, a trailer titled Choose Chosen was posted to Enhypen's YouTube channel, announcing the group's debut in November 2020. A second trailer titled Dusk Dawn was released 3 days later, followed by a pair of concept mood boards on October 27th. On October 28th, Belift announced that Enhypen would release their debut extended play, EP, Border Day 1, on November 30th. Ahead of their debut, the group accumulated over 1 million followers on social media platforms TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and VLive. On November 4th, Border Day 1 was announced to have amassed over 150,000 pre-orders within 2 days, surpassing 300,000 copies by November 21st. The EP and lead single, Given Taken, were released on November 30th, accompanied by a live showcase. On December 4th, Enhypen officially made their live debut on KBS Music Bank, performing Given Taken. Border Day 1 charted at number 39 on the Japanese Oricon 2020 yearly album chart and at number 2 on the South Korean GON album chart, having sold 318,528 copies in 1 day domestically, and becoming the highest-selling album by a K-pop group that debuted in 2020. Within 2 weeks of their debut, the band won Next Leader Award at the 2020 Fact Music Awards. In February 2021, Border Day 1 received a platinum certification from the Korea Music Content Association, KMCA, the group's first certification in the country. Their second EP, Border Carnival, was announced in a trailer titled Intro, The Invitation, released on April 5th. By the day before its release, pre-orders for the EP surpassed 450,000 copies. The EP was released in conjunction with lead single Drunk Dazed on April 26th. On May 4th, Enhypen received their first ever music show win on SBS MTV's The Show with Drunk Dazed, followed by wins on Show Champion and Music Bank. Border Carnival debuted at #1 on the Oricon Albums chart, the group's first chart topper in Japan, with over 83,000 copies sold. On May 25th, Border Carnival debuted at #18 on the US Billboard 200 chart. On July 6th, Enhypen made their Japanese debut with the single Border Hakanai, Border Wakanai. Its track list included Forget Me Not, which served as the opening theme for the anime Remain, and the Japanese versions of Given Taken and Let Me In 20 Cube. On July 29th, Enhypen collaborated with the animated television series Teo the Little Bus to remake the theme song Hey Teo and released a new song titled Billy Poco. On August 25th, Belift confirmed that Enhypen would release new music at the end of September, though plans were postponed when multiple members tested positive for COVID-19. On September 16th, Belift announced the members had recovered and that their first studio album, Dimension Dilemma, would be released on October 12th, with a trailer titled Intro Whiteout released on September 17th. By October 7th, pre-orders surpassed 910,000 copies. The album was released on October 12th, placing first on the national album charts of South Korea and Japan. On October 19th, Enhypen received their fourth music show win on The Show with Tamed Dashed, followed by wins on Show Champion and Music Bank. On October 25th, Dimension Dilemma debuted at #11 on the Billboard 200, surpassing their previous peak with Border Carnival. In addition, Enhypen also entered Billboard Artist 100 at #12. Dimension Dilemma sold over 1.1 million copies, making it the group's first ever million-selling album, and was certified as such by KMCA in December. Enhypen released Dimension Answer, a repackaged version of Dimension Dilemma, on January 10, 2022. 2022 Dimension Series, Manifesto, Day 1, First World Tour, and Sadame. On January 19th, Enhypen received their 7th music show win on MBCM's Show Champion with Blessed Cursed, followed by a win on Music Bank on January 21st. On January 16th, the first of a new fictional webtoon series about the group was released, titled Dark Moon, The Blood Altar. In February, Enhypen released the original Japanese song Always as the theme for the NTV drama Muchaburi, I Will Be the President, which aired beginning in January. On February 11th, Belift announced that member Sunoo tested positive for COVID-19. On February 15th, Belift announced Sunoo had fully recovered and ended quarantine, resuming activities on February 16th. Enhypen's Japanese digital single, Always, was released on February 22nd. It was included on the track list of Enhypen's second Japanese single, Dimension Senko, Dimension Shenko. The single was released on May 3rd and also featured Japanese versions of Tamed Dashed and Drunk Dazed. Tamed Dashed became the group's first #1 song on the Billboard Japan Hot 100, with 386,142 units sold in the first week. On June 14th, Belift announced that Enhypen would be releasing their third EP, Manifesto, Day 1, on July 4th, with a trailer titled Walk the Line released on the same day. The EP became their second million-selling album and made them the fastest K-pop group to achieve 2 such albums. On July 12th, the group received their 9th music show win on The Show with Future Perfect Pass the Mic, followed by wins on Show Champion and Music Bank. In July, it was announced that Enhypen would be embarking on their first world tour, Manifesto, starting in September 2022 in Seoul and ending in Japan in November. On August 12th, they released the original song I Need the Light, Kuhejo, as the theme for the drama series Mimicus. The same day, Esquire Korea officially announced that Enhypen would be on the cover of its September 2022 issue. On August 17th, it was announced Sunoo would not be able to fly to Los Angeles for the group's performance at KCON for health reasons. 2 days later, Enhypen threw out the ceremonial first pitch for Major League Baseball team Los Angeles Dodgers at their game against Miami Marlins at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. On August 24th, Belift announced that Sunoo had recovered and would resume his activities on the same day. On August 27th, the teaser for 1 in a Billion from the official soundtrack for the webtoon Dark Moon, The Blood Altar was released. The song premiered on September 3rd, and the music video and digital single were officially released on September 6th. On October 18th, was announced that Enhypen's first world tour would be extended through January and February 2023, with concerts in Philippines and Thailand. On October 26th, Enhypen's first Japanese studio album, Sadame, was released through Universal Music Japan with 9 tracks. The original Japanese songs Always and Forget Me Not, the Japanese versions of Blessed Cursed and Future Perfect, Pass the Mic, and the Japanese version Polaroid Love as a CD-only bonus track. Sadame also contained the original Japanese song Make the Change, which was selected as the theme song for the second season of the Tokai TV and Fuji TV Japanese drama Saikono Obaha Nakajima Haruko, which began airing on October 8th. The song was digitally pre-released on October 12th. On November 16th, it was announced that 2 shows in Japan were added to Enhypen's world tour at Kyocera Dome in Osaka. On November 28th, the song Zero Moment, performed by members Heeseung, Jae, and Jake, was released as a part of the theme songs for the ENA and Genie TV Korean drama Summer Strike, which began airing in November 21st, 2023. Blood series and subsequent Japanese releases. On January 21st and 22nd, 2023, Enhypen held their first 2-day sold-out dome concert at Kyocera as part of the Manifesto World Tour. They also became the first K-pop group to sell out 3 consecutive shows at the Mall of Asia Arena in the Philippines from February 3rd to 5, doing so on their first world tour. On April 14th, Belift confirmed that Enhypen would be releasing their 4th EP in May. The name of the EP, Dark Blood, and its May 22nd release date were unveiled alongside the official logo trailer on April 23rd. On May 23rd, South Korea's Hanteo chart announced that Dark Blood sold over 1.1 million copies on its first day alone, surpassing the sales of Enhypen's previous EP. Despite the 2-week shipment delay in the U.S., it became the group's 5th top 10 entry on the Billboard Top Album Sales chart and their first ever top 5 Billboard 200 entry. On May 30th, it was announced that Enhypen would be embarking on their second world tour, Fate, starting in Seoul at KSPO Dome on July 29th and 30, followed by 2 shows each at Kyocera Dome in Japan on September 2nd and 3, and Tokyo Dome on September 13th and 14th. The tour continued in United States in October in Los Angeles, Glendale, Houston, Dallas, Newark, and Chicago. On June 1st, the group received their 12th music show win on Mnet's M Countdown, their first ever win on the show, with Bite Me, followed the next day by another win on Music Bank. In late June, video game series Pokémon announced a collaboration with Enhypen through the Pokémon Music Collective project with a new song titled One and Only, which was released on July 12th. On July 2nd, it was announced that Enhypen would release their 3rd Japanese single, You. The single, which includes the Japanese versions of Bite Me and Bills and the original Japanese song Blossom, was released on September 5th with a showcase in Japan on September 7th. On October 15th, Belift announced that Enhypen would be releasing their 5th EP, Orange Blood, on November 17th, with a logo teaser released the same day. On November 24th, the group received their 13th music show win on Music Bank with the EP's lead single, Sweet Venom. On October 24th, it was announced that Enhypen's second world tour would be extended through January and February 2024, with concerts in Taiwan, Singapore, China, and the Philippines. On November 22nd, due to demand, 2 more shows were added in Seoul at KSPO Dome on February 24th and 25, 2024. On December 9th, a 3rd show was added in Macau due to demand. On February 5th, 2024, due to demand, a 3rd show was added in Seoul at KSPO Dome on February 23rd. On February 6th, it was announced that 5 more concerts were added in United States, in Anaheim, Oakland, Tacoma, Rosemont, and Belmont Park during April 24th to 28th and May 1st to 3. On March 17th, it was announced that 11 more concerts were added in Japan, in Saitama, Fukuoka, Hiroshima, Aichi, and Miyagi between June 11th and September 1st, 2024. Memorabilia and Romance, Untold. On April 29, 2024, following teasers on the official Dark Moon The Blood Altar social media pages on April 26th and 28th that included snippets of music and hints about a release date, it was announced that Enhypen would release a special album titled Memorabilia for the webtoon on May 13th. On May 14th, it was reported that Enhypen will release a new album in mid-July. 6 days later, 2 more concerts were added for their second world tour in Jakarta from August 17th to 18th. On May 29th, the music video for Japanese rock band Glaze song Who Done It featuring was released. Jay also contributed to the writing of the lyrics. On June 16th, the logo teaser for Enhypen's second studio album, Romance Untold, was released. 4 days later, 2 concept cinema posters for the album were posted on the group's official social media accounts, teasing the release of a short film on June 22nd in collaboration with director Lee Chung-hin. Romance Untold album was released on July 12th. On November 11th, Enhypen released their second repackage album, Romance Untold Daydream. 2025. Desire. Unleash and 4th Japanese single on January 10, 2025, Heeseung and Jake were featured on American rapper Flo Rida's new single Confessions, alongside American rapper Paul Russell. On April 4th, Enhypen released a digital single titled Loose. They performed the song on Jimmy Kimmel Live on April 10th, their first performance on U.S. television. They then performed at Coachella 2025's Sahara Tent on April 12th and 19th. In between performances, the group announced the dates and venues for the upcoming late summer U.S. and European legs of their Walk the Line World Tour. At the end of the Week 2 Coachella set, the title and release date for the group's upcoming 6th EP, Desire Unleash, was announced, with a release date of June 5th. On June 4th, Belift announced that pre-orders for Desire Unleash had surpassed 2.18 million copies. On June 12th, the group received their 15th show win on Mnet's M Countdown with the album's lead single, Bad Desire With or Without You, followed the next day by another win on KBS Music Bank, and on June 15th by their first ever win on SBS Inkigayo. On June 12th, it was announced that Enhypen would release their 4th Japanese single, Yoi. The single, which includes the Japanese version of Bad Desire, With or Without You, and the original Japanese songs, Shine on Me and Echoes, was released on July 29th, with a showcase in Japan on June 31st. 2026 present. The Sin, Vanish, and Heeseung's departure. On January 16, 2026, Enhypen began their new The Sin series, with the release of their 7th EP, The Sin, Vanish. On March 10, 2026, Belift Lab announced that Heeseung would be departing from the group while preparing to release a solo album under the same label, and that Enhypen would continue as a 6-member group. Other ventures. In June 2021, Enhypen collaborated with a football-inspired lifestyle brand, GOALSTU, on limited edition recovery slippers called N-Gravity Balance through Weaver's Shop. In the same month, the group was announced as the first global ambassadors of the French fashion brand Ami Paris. In October, Enhypen was announced as the new global models of Hybe, a new Korean skincare brand. In March 2022, Enhypen was appointed by Japanese footwear company ABC Mart to be the face of its Nike Air Max promotions that year, including special benefits such as AR experiences and original stickers to those who purchase the INTRLK and EXCE shoes via its online store. The group later modeled the Nike Wanawanta sandal and Air Rift for summer promotions and endorsed Nike Manoa leather boots in the winter. In May, Enhypen was chosen as the 2022 Coke Summer Campaign artist for its Coke X Music, Engrave the Magic of Summer message, covering British rock band Queen's A Kind of Magic from their 1986 album of the same name on June 8th through Coke Studio. This was followed by their Coca-Cola Zero X Enhypen campaign in August. In early October, Enhypen was revealed as the face of BYS Cosmetics Philippines' You Play You campaign. They were selected as the new ambassador for Colon Sports in the same month and modeled its 2022 Fall/Winter collection and 2023 Spring/Summer Trekking Look collection. In May 2023, Enhypen was chosen by the Seoul Design Foundation and Seoul Metropolitan Government as the DDP Public Relations Ambassador and opened Seoul Fashion Week as the Airbnb host. In June, Enhypen was announced as new brand ambassadors of the Italian luxury fashion house Prada. In July, Enhypen became global ambassadors of the Filipino clothing and lifestyle brand Bench. In August, the group teamed up with Indonesian food and beverage brand Nabati to promote their goguma-flavored snacks. In September, Enhypen's Dark Moon, the Blood Altar, collaborated with Latte World Magic Island on a festival running from September 1st to October 22nd. Visitors received character photo cards and limited packages, as well as chance to experience a party room, merch pop-up store, photo zone, and limited Decilis Academy rental uniforms. The same month, Enhypen was named as ambassadors for 2023 Seoul Fashion Week, where they made their first appearance at the Prada Mode event. On October 30th, Enhypen was named the first ever global ambassador of Korean skincare brand Dr. Jart Plus, debuting their partnership in a new campaign called Supercharged Repair Cicapair. On January 31st, 2024, Enhypen was chosen as the new model image of the Japanese mail-order retailer Peachjon for their new spring unisex roomwear as part of their 30th anniversary special project. On March 6th, they were announced as brand ambassadors for Dunkin' Philippines. On April 30th, with the reveal of their digital pictorial for W Korea's May issue showcasing Tiffany & Company jewelry, members Jake and Sunghoon were announced as regional South Korea and Japan Friends of the House ambassadors for the luxury brand. Before their appointment, they had also been featured on the September 2023 cover of Cosmopolitan Korea in collaboration with Tiffany & Company and had been attending the brand's events since then. On May 31st, Sunghoon was announced as the exclusive model for South Korean cosmetics brand Hints. On February 19, 2025, Enhypen was announced as the new global ambassador of the skincare brand Mixsoon, with the campaign called Beauty Essentials for Glass Skin. Philanthropy. In October 2024, Enhypen participated in a charity event for the fashion magazine W Korea's breast cancer awareness campaign, Love Your W. In November 2025, Enhypen and Belift Lab donated 100 million Korean won, around 4 million pesos, through the Hope Bridge Korea Disaster Relief Association in partnership with the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation to support relief efforts for communities affected by the recent flooding in Philippines. In January 2026, Enhypen worked with the Korean Red Cross in a campaign to promote blood donation. Registered donors would receive special gifts for their participation. Over the 10-day campaign period, the amount of first-time blood donors increased 19-fold. Discography: Korean albums, Dimension Dilemma, 2021. Romance, Untold, 2024. Japanese albums, Sadame, 2022.